All right, so we're going to talk about the lymphatic and immune systems. We have gone over blood before the break, and I know everybody remembers exactly everything regarding blood, and you don't need to review it because you committed it completely to memory. But we're going to go over the lymphatic and immune systems now. So if you were unfamiliar with some of the stuff that I'm talking about, look back at your notes from blood to kind of help refresh your memory, because it has obviously to do with the lymphatic and immune system. All right, so today we're going to talk about lymphatic system. Tomorrow we'll talk about the immune system. The lymphatic system is a network of different things kind of going on. They collect excessive fluids throughout the body and return it back to the circulatory system. So it consists of lymphatic vessels, lymph nodes, the spleen, the thymus gland, and tonsils, and we'll talk about each of those in just a minute. So again, taking excess fluid from the body and returning it back to the circulatory system. Sometimes our circulatory system does leak fluid, and so that's why the lymphatic system is going to bring that back to the circulatory system. So anytime it's in the lymphatic vessel, it's going to be called lymph. I don't know if you can hear that cat or not, but it's very distracting. It's not our cat either. So the lymphatic system does work with the immune system. There's different cells and tissues that's going to help with the defense of different pathogens, with pathogens meaning disease-causing things. So that's going to be bacteria, viruses, whatever. So not only does it work with the circulatory system, but it's also going to work with the immune system as well. So looking at the lymphatic vessels themselves, so they run throughout the entire body. They run right next to the circulatory system. So these are not a closed loop. It's not like the circulatory system where you have the heart, you have the arteries, the capillaries, the veins, and it goes back to the heart. That's a closed loop. The lymphatic vessels usually don't start until you're getting towards the capillaries and veins of the circulatory system, and then it returns it back to the circulatory system through ducts and stuff, and we'll look at pictures of that in a second. So they start off as very small vessels called capillaries, just like the circulatory system, and they're going to dump into larger and larger vessels, and we'll talk about each of those. So as the capillaries merge, then they become vessels. Once those vessels become bigger, then they drain into ducts. And so we have two main ducts. We have the right lymphatic duct, and then we have the thoracic duct. And we will look at where each of those drain. Okay, so as seen in this picture here, so we have the circulatory system, again, the heart with the arteries, then the capillaries, and then the veins. With the lymphatic system, it starts here around the capillaries again with the lymphatic capillaries, and they drain into bigger vessels here, which just become lymphatic vessels, until you come up in here where everybody's draining into one big vessel, and we're going to call that a duct. We'll discuss what all these little other things are in just a second. Okay, so talking about the right lymphatic duct versus the thoracic duct. So the right lymphatic duct is going to drain, obviously, on the right side of the body. So again, left and right is opposite to you. So the right is going to be on this side over here. So this purple is what the right lymphatic duct empties. So the head, the right side of the head, the right side of the neck, the right arm, and the right chest. Okay. The thoracic duct is going to do everything that's in yellow. It does more than its fair share. Okay, so it's going to be the left side of the head, left side of the neck, the left arm, the left chest, the whole abdomen, and both legs. And it's all going to come back until we have two main branches located here and here. And all of that excess is going to go back into the circulatory system, which is this blue here. Okay, so that's going to be dumping into the superior vena cava, going back to the heart. Okay, so those little round guys that we saw in the first picture are going to be your lymph nodes. So again, it's just a bunch of lymphatic tissue along the route of the lymphatic vessels. They can be referred to as lymph glands, but most of the time you're going to hear them as lymph nodes. So they're going to have some lymphocytes, which was one of our blood cells, white blood cells. And so those are going to have to do with fighting off infection. There's also different antibodies that are going to be collected in the lymph nodes. So as lymph tissue is going back to the circulatory system, they get checked periodically by lymph nodes for different pathogens or diseases, other kinds of bit of like old cells that are kind of wearing out and need to just be taken out of circulation. That's what the lymph nodes are going to kind of do. So as that's going back, the lymph nodes are kind of doing checks. Think about this as like when you go to the airport and you have to do the security check. It's a bunch of security checks along the way back to where they're going. Okay, so it's going to trap and destroy cells of cancers and tumors, which is fantastic. But if it doesn't work correctly, then the lymphatic system is going to spread cancer very quickly as well. Okay, so there's different lymph nodes that are going to be concentrated in several different regions, and we're going to look at that.